Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, after the extremely covert attack by our arch rival India, Pakistan's response was offensive defense, and then that was totally collaborated, integrated, measured, calibrated and lethal. Pakistan in all domains, whether it was from air, from land or through sea, Pakistan's defense forces were committed to save each and every inch of motherland. Pakistan established not only its deterrence, but also we have got a new warfare strategies. And these strategies will be studied across the world as a case study, because there are lots of successes we are still getting into. Pakistan not only preserved the control of air, but also land and at sea. Pakistan's cyber and space warfare, that was the key. That has changed the whole course of war between Pakistan and India. That has brought India at her knees. That's why India pleaded for ceasefire across the world. And they have knocked each and every door, not only the United States, but also to the European Union, the Muslim countries in Gulf. They were pleaded for any sort of ceasefire because they want to halt it. It was because that their whole of the defense systems were saturated, crippled. They were not able to see anything because Pakistan's Air Force, the cyber and the space force done marvelous job. We have not only jammed their satellites, but also crippled the whole cyber systems. And that was the prime reason why our valiant Air Force warriors, they have bombed the different military locations, including the air bases, their intelligence setups, their dumps or the storage facilities of BrahMos, also the S-400 systems, their batteries. And in the very first go, at the 6th and the 7th midnight, in the very first few minutes, Pakistani pilots got 6-0. This is the figure which is now authenticated internationally. Even Martin and Becker, who is providing the ejection seats for the fighter jets, they are confirming it. Not only the Rafale, the Dassault aviation, they are confirming it. The international media, United States, Britain, and all others, all of them are confirming. And they are calling the Indian military's claims as a bluff. And now Pakistan not only retained or established the deterrence, but also Pakistan established the full spectrum supremacy in the region. We will talk on this very important area, and to talk on this we have in our studios Air Commodore retired Raza Haider. He is Director at Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, CAS, Islamabad. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. And we have Dr. Mohammed Saeed. He is expert on emerging technologies. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for your presence here. And we have Talat Ahmad Bhutta. He is the cyber security expert. Thank you very much, Bhutta Saab, for your presence in the studios. My first question to you, Air Commodore Saab, that how we define the multi-domain operations with a true spectrum supremacy, with the air, land and sea military domain integration, with electronic warfare, cyberspace, command, control, communication, information, infrastructure, are all combined in an electromagnetic spectrum environment like a electronic warfare web.
Thank you, Faisal Saab. Very comprehensive question covering the MDO as well as the cyber and space. I will try to answer.
Just tell our viewers, because MDO is a multi-domain
operation. A multi-domain operation commonly known as MDO or mosaic operation. It is actually the integration of all the domains or the capabilities, whether in land, sea, air, space, cyber, EW, drones, to achieve an objective. It is a synergy or coordinated of efforts to achieve a certain objective. And on that day when we got the 6-0, as you mentioned also, if in my opinion,
I have not mentioned Heron or the 84
everybody is
right
mentioned,
now.
yeah. Yeah, so that success, alhamdulillah, is attributed to the, I feel, 3 main strengths of Pakistan Air Force, out of which the first one is MDO, multi-domain operation. And now I will explain that what is MDO in PF domains. You see, multi-domain operation is a integration of capabilities. What are those capabilities with the Pakistan Air Force for that combat? First of all, the aircraft. Coming to the aircraft, we have the JF-17 Thunder, that is block 3. We have a series, block 1, block 2, now it's a block 3 is in the combat. It is having the ESA radar and the BVR capability. Then we have J-10C. J-10C is also a very potent aircraft along with the BVR capability. Then we have F-16s.
Viewers, BVR is actually beyond visual range. It's a missile. We are using at JF-17 Thunder Block 3, that is PL-15, and also at J-10C, that is also PL-15. Sir, please carry on.
So then from the aircraft category, we comes to the cyber domain, and then the space, then EW, and then drones. So all these together makes a multi-domain operation successful. The second strength of Pakistan Air Force is actually the high quality of training, because everything is man behind the gun, as you know.
No doubt.
These are definitely very good capabilities, very good aircraft, including the J-10, JF-17, but actually the person who is behind the gun is important. And the high quality training is actually the high mark of Pakistan Air Force. And third one, and probably the most important one, is the visionary leadership of Pakistan Air Force, which actually not only prepare those technologies through indigenization or through procurement for such a combat, they spearheaded also that combat operation from the command operation center, and actually then result became the 6-0. So this is a multi-domain operation. Coming to your second part in the cyber and the space domain, I will little elaborate these 2 angles. Cyber is computer hardware, software, and the network, complete network. And whatever is traveling between them is the data. And data is, just to apprise my viewers, that data is now becoming a technology that is included by the United States National Security Science and Technology Council as a technology which is important for the national security. They have actually issued a list of 18 technologies, out of which one is data and the space both. So these are vital for the national security. So now in cyber, what we do the cyber attack as well as the cyber defense. We are doing the attack on the data which is communicating between the aircraft, within the aircraft to ground, aircraft to space, with the radars. All this data which is traveling between them, we are attacking through the cyber attack. And simultaneously we are defending also, because the attacker is also attacking us also. So there is a simultaneous operation. And alhamdulillah, on that day the cyber attacks were all in progress and very successful. Coming to the space domain, that has become very, very important now. Space is anything which is above the 100 kilometers of altitude. Between the 100 kilometer we have air, so we call it aircraft. Anything which is above the 100 kilometers altitude is space. So now this air and space have to communicate with each other, and in the space the craft is known as satellite. Satellite is actually watching everything below. So the best, one of the best, otherwise the space is weaponized also, as you know.
Unfortunately.
But the more very important use of the satellite is ISR, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance, ISR. So ISR through the space from the satellites communicating with the aircraft as it together making a multi-domain operation successful. So this all joined together is making a multi-domain operation.
Thank you very much for your response. So Dr. Saeed, world is entering into an electromagnetic spectro operations now. We could call it ESO, a whole new environment of warfare, and now everything is related to electromagnetic spectrum basically. Air supremacy has to proceed by the spectrum supremacy. If you control the spectrum, you control the escalation. And PAF attained the spectrum warfare capability in a marvelous fashion. So, how do you see this whole area, and what are the contours of it?
Faisal, a very interesting and at the same time complex question. I will try to make that easy for the convenience of
Definitely
our
we have
audience,
to, because this is our duty really.
Yeah. So electromagnetic spectro operation, basically in simple words, it's electronic warfare.
Yes.
Electronic warfare, and it is basically about electromagnetic spectrums. So a range of electromagnetic radiation is employed against the adversary. For what purpose? In order to detect, in order to identify, in order to attack the enemy. And this whole process, if I link that to C4 ISR, that will be much comprehensible. I mean to say, starting from command, control, communication, computers, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. So all these combined together in order to to counter the threat which is emerging from the adversary. Basically, this EMSO, which we call as electromagnetic spectro operation, it gives critical advantage in modern warfare by controlling the spectrum, number one, and then by communicating efficiently. I mean to say processing of data, the decision making, that basically assist in making decision efficiently, quickly, swiftly, in order to locate the target, in order to launch the whatever the weapon that is towards the target, and then whatever the technologies there are, radar technologies, which Air Commodore Raza mentioned. So basically they are used to disrupt the adversary's capabilities. So in simple words, it is basically
what we have done successfully in this case.
Yes, we have done this successfully. Our armed forces, particularly Pakistan Air Force, their capabilities, the way they countered.
But the
India.
beautiful thing was this whole episode, because we have learnt it from right insight, that tri-services, there were a brilliant integration among all them, and the whole operation, everyone was aware what is going to be happen and how we are going to conduct it, and they know the result prior to that, but soon after we execute actually that, and we have already examined these results soon afterwards as well. So this is the beauty of this whole operation and all that. We are not saying it that the war is good, but war is always bad. But we are talking about the operation which was conducted by our tri-services. Particularly, you are saying, you are very right about Pakistan Air Force.
Yeah. So the tri-services jointness. Yes. I mean to say, if you look into their coordination, the way they were coordinating, this was amazing. And I think the capabilities which we have, in all three services, and their jointness, their connectedness with respect to NCW, network-centric warfare, I think that is incredible. And that was the thing, that was the capability which basically, provided us advantage against the adversary, the conventional superior adversary, that is India. So, in simple words, it is about controlling the spectrum, attacking the enemy, and then acquiring the supremacy, which we reckon or which we call full spectrum supremacy, which Pakistan achieved in this conflict, this 5-day conflict.
Brilliant, thank you. Bhutta sahab, how has Pakistan's cyber capability actually evolved in these recent years, particularly in the military domain, especially in the context of the offensive cyber operation which conducted by the Pakistan Cyber Force, Pakistan Air Force Cyber Force? How those objectives actually fulfilled during Operation Bunyan Marsoos, and what were the strategic goals of this whole cyber operation against India?
Thank you. This is a very important question. I think after the technical debate of both of the scholars, Commodore Saab and Raza Saab, it is very important to know that how much we have the capabilities, what we did. I think there is in last few years, especially in last 10 years, there are so many steps has been taken by the government and so many institutions. For example, This journey started basically in 2013 when there was the advanced student leaks. At that time it was realized by the government or different institution that this is the only the one of the cyberspace, cybersecurity, we have to concentrate on it. And in Pakistan, the very first cybersecurity center of excellence was established in 2018. Then in 2021, the National Cybersecurity Policy was announced. And the most important thing is, as we all know, the different countries, they have the army, they have established the cyber command. In 2022, August 2022, military Pakistan army, they have decided to establish the cyber command. This was the very important step. After that, there are so many other institutions like the universities and the research center. They played a very important role to realize the importance of this domain, and they did so many research work, and especially with reference to the indigenous research, development, and innovation. This was the very important. And in Pakistan, there are so many organizations, especially in recent years, some of the universities, they have announced the cybersecurity program, cyberspace program, the bachelor, master, PhDs, and so many other such activities. They give and they prepared such an environment within the Pakistan through which we achieved our objective, and that all the objective has been fulfilled, especially in our this operation that Pakistan has attacked the India and all the world, they have accepted it, that this is the only first type of this type of cyber attack in the history of the cyber attack in last 25 years. So I think Pakistan has achieved their objective. They attacked the cyberspace of India. They faced the problem. There so many difficulties where India they have faced.
Still they are struggling. They are not getting out because there are lots of problems they are facing right now. Even the power outages, and they have the issues with the gas system as well, the communication systems, and even the data, because that is really difficult for them to retrieve now because that was all hacked or all deleted. So it is really so. Even the brain of the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Zaid Ahmed Babur Sidhu is also playing in this whole cyberspace game. So because he is very genius on that. Air Commodore Sahab, in a modern day warfare, when we are talking about particularly, if you just answer both of it, first the drones, because most of the people were talking about that. What are the drones? What are the killer drones? What's the difference between the unmanned aerial vehicle and a combat aerial vehicle, unmanned combat aerial vehicle? So number one, and the second is that J-10C, JF-17 Thunder, and others. Obviously, every fighter jet has lots of sensors, and there is a lot of fusion required. The data link is needed, the software defining the radars, and all thriving at the electromagnetic spectrum. So in the backdrop of this multi-domain operational environment, how do you categorize the kill of the pride of India, Rafales, then Heron UAV? Then we have obviously our HIMAT system also hit the Su-30 MKI and also the Heron drones, which are the UAVs. So and also the Mirage 2000 as well. So how do you see this whole spectrum and whole network of things, and how we have actually targeted our adversary through their pride as well, and also first related to the drones particularly?
Okay. Very good question, Faisal Saab. Nowadays it is a very much required knowledge. Actually, drone is a generic term with anything which is without the pilot. Anything, if it is flying, it is without the pilot.
Unmanned, yes.
Unmanned, and if it is flying, we call it unmanned aerial vehicle. If it is on the ground, we call it ground robots. If it is underwater, it is unmanned submarine or underwater robot. Unmanned aerial vehicle is generally used where we only need the ISR, that is intelligence, surveillance, economy, because it is installed with the cameras.
It is for surveillance basis.
Surveillance basis. Yes. Basically, remotely it is piloted. Pilot is somewhere else, pilot sitting somewhere else, maybe 500 kilometers away, and the drone is flying at some other region, and pilot is seeing everything through that camera. And once this UAV is installed with a weapon, it is known as UCAV, unmanned combat aerial vehicle, because now it is combat vehicle. It is installed with the weapons. And the Heron, which actually came on that day, 6th, 7th night,
that's Israeli made.
That was Israeli made. That was UCAV basically, Heron, which was shot down by us. And from the UCAV, we come to the category of killer drones. Rope, which came on that day, it was actually a killer drone. Killer drone, also known as kamikaze drone, also known as suicidal drone, there are different terminologies. It is little different from the UCAV. Main difference is that is actually the explosive is inside the drone.
Definitely.
It is inside the UAV and it is installed with a camera, and it is itself explosive. It is not installed with any external weapons. And pilot is flying, and wherever it wanted to hit the target, it will actually crash that killer drone into that target. Now, next category is swarm drones, which is also when the killer drones are coming in a multiple quantities, maybe in thousands or hundreds, that is known as swarm drones. But anyway, that was not there on that day. Now, the question is here, how they do the targeting? There are three ways to do the targeting in case of the drones. One is that the pilot is actually flying those, and through the video, it is seeing the target, and it is actually employ that drone there. Second is to have a GPS coordinate, feed it in that drone, and third is to have the autonomous drones. Autonomous is ethically, legally, it's not right also, but anyway it is under use. In that case, if I give you an example, we feed some image of some house into that drone, and then in that case that drone has to hit that house in spite of the fact that even some children are playing in that floor of that house, even still it will kill those children. So, it is an ethical issue also. Now, coming to that why Indian Air Force used the drone next day. This is a question arise from such a discussion. In my opinion, the drone warfare is a new norm. It is going to be the new warfare. It is a part of the future warfare, and we have intercepted those drones very well. We have the anti-drone capability.
They might have some sort of a thinking to identify some locations.
Yes, they tried it also, and we have destroyed there almost more than 80 drones.
84.
And we have a very good drone capability also. Indian Air Force or Indian diverted towards the drone warfare from the normal aircraft warfare, maybe because of the three main reasons which I think. Number one, the drone warfare is an economical way. It is hardly, this Harop is $0.7 million drone as compared to the Rafale, which is close to $200 million. And
there is no threat of having a casualty or something like that?
Yes. Second is it's sustainable. You can sustain this war for a long time. As you can see, the Russia-Ukraine war, initially there was used to be an air attacks, land forces. Now they, for last almost 1 year, they have the drone attacks only. So it's a sustainable long-term war. And thirdly, more important is it creates the chaos among the public, among the civilian public, which actually India wanted to but could not. Coming to your J-10 and JF-17.
Very brief, because we have run short of time.
Yes, yes. Actually, both are very capable aircraft. Both are having the BVR capability, and both are having the ESA radar, internal EW, HOTAS, everything. And I think the major difference was the BVR capability. We have the first shot capability, and that was a major difference.
Yes, no doubt about that. Dr. Saeed, please be brief on that. What do you think about the Pakistan's brilliant operation against Indian BrahMos supersonic missiles? When India fired hundreds of BrahMos, actually, Pakistan Air Force not only detected them right from the launch site, number one, almost traveling at 3,000 km per hour towards our bases and different sites. Probability of missing the target was increases by actually igniting the GPS errors, and that's why we are able to cross to actually crash majority of them in no man's land. So how do you see that operation? Because it was really difficult to stop or detrack any sort of a supersonic missile, but Pakistan done that.
Yeah. So if you look into this BrahMos missile technology, this is one of the sophisticated technology which India has. You know, it has two variants. One is BrahMos 1 that travel at a speed of like 3 Mach, around 3,000 km per hour, and the other is like hypersonic BrahMos missile, which was tested in 2020. So now we are required to look into this, that either it was cruise missile traveling at a speed of 3 Mach, or this hypersonic missile which has this flying capability or traveling capability of like 5 Mach. So this is a question which is required, you know, as the as research will be done. So
but most of them were 3 Mach. So
3 Mach, yeah.
yes.
So now, if you look into this Cold War era, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles, basically they were the outcome of the arm race between the United States of America and Soviet Union. So for that purpose, BMDs were devised and developed.
Yes.
And now in contemporary time, if it was this cruise missile with this BrahMos with, flying at speed of 3,000 kilometer per hour, so yeah, we have BMDs for that. But if it was you know, hypersonic missiles, so neither we have nor you know, great powers like United States of America and China has the capability to counter it. Nevertheless, Pakistan intercepted BrahMos in Sindh near one of the military installations successfully, and the components which were found over there, that resembles basically the components which were found in Bahalpur, you know, where one of the civilian installation or mosque was attacked by India, and that was basically a violation, severe violation of international law. And we had this
They have
all
used
right.
Scalp as well from their Rafales.
Yes, Scalp was also intercepted. So I think that this is a new era of warfare. This is a new precedent. And what is required to be done? We as a Pakistani armed forces, and you know, public and private sector, I'm talking about both, we need to work together. We need to invest requisite resources and energy to invest in research and development, so that we acquire the capability, because this is just the start. The future is very dangerous. In order to mitigate the threats of future, we need to maximize our capability.
We have
That is
to build
answer.
and strengthen our defenses. Basically, that is more of a needed right now. So, Bhutta sahab, how do you see, how do you analyze actually during major cyber offensive by Pakistan, cyber warriors hit Indian digital infrastructure, including 1,744 servers, Indian Railway, 120 routers, 1,310 internet protocol cameras, defaced actually 507 ICT devices and database wipe out already, 15 mail servers, 13 government portals taken offline, 150 databases leaked actually, and 110 corporate websites and 3 of the Indian news channels actually defaced. So how do you see this whole ambit of this operation, because what successes we got out of this cyber operation?
Thank you. This is very important. As time is going on, so many information are coming. And no, it is very important to mention here that not only the government organizations and the researchers of India, they are accepting it. Not only they are accepting it, but they are also writing it, and they are telling about, and they are discussing that how this happened. There are so many other websites. For example, the President of India, their Prime Minister, then the Jammu Kashmir government, their website was attacked, they were not able to access them, and there were so many other such attacks on all these things. With reference to the analysis what has happened, basically there are 3 very important things the scholars and researchers are talking about with reference to the India. Number 1, they have not publicly defined doctrines of the cyber defense. Then they have not they depend on, most of the time they depend on the regulatory regime that has been given by the National Cert of India. And third, they have not, the defensive remains very reactive, they are not the proactive. Whenever we talk about the cyber security, this is very important to mention that you have to take the step proactive, not the reactive. When you are the reactive, it means the damage has been happened, all the things have been dispersed. So in this case of India, this is the very good scenario. These are the so many studies, and that has been accepted. So many foreign, European Union and some other Western researchers and their newspaper and scholars, they are talking and they are highlighting that this happened with the India. And in the history of the cyberspace and cyber security, this is the highest and the biggest cyber attack that was launched by the Pakistan on the India, and they were completely, each and everything was dispersed, and now they are accepting and recognizing. So I think there will be the case study. and so many researchers and scholars will talk with as the time go on, that what happened.
As the
what were
researcher and scholar you are
deficiencies.
talking right now. So, Air Commodore retired Raza Sahab, how do you define the modern day drone warfare? I'm talking about particularly the air defense systems, how we actually curtail those kamikaze or the killer drones entering in Pakistan. Particularly when we are talking about detecting its even the lower radar cross sections, RCS, slow speed platforms, including these drones coming from India. All tri-services used these spoofing, jamming, and even making these drones ineffective, useless, and inserviceability. So, data and the SATCOM links actually those were denied, and there were most of the indigenous systems were used by Pakistan for the soft and the hard kill.
Yes.
How much important it is to develop our own indigenous technologies when it comes to the drone warfare, as we have used in this warfare?
Actually, drone is a future warfare.
Yes.
And similarly the anti-drone. So we are developing the drones as well as the anti-drones. Now in the anti-drone capability, there are two type of skills, soft kill and the hard kill. In the soft kill, what we do, we actually jam either the frequency, the RF frequency, or the GPS, or its connection with the satellites, or the optical sensing devices. These are all the areas which can be jammed through the soft skill, and which we did also. In the hard kill, they are mainly two techniques, either the laser or the fire, short fire. And we applied both the techniques, and alhamdulillah you can see the I think more than 80 drones were destroyed in this.
Your point well taken, Dr. Saeed. What about Pakistan Air Force operation to jam Indian military satellites? As their downlinks were scuttled, it leads to a decision paralysis with no communication beyond the line of sight platforms. Those were almost redundant. Any sort of a payload working within the line of sight, if it goes beyond working on SATCOM, so the SATCOM was also denied. So its effectiveness actually reduced to almost nil. So that was the basic reason why our bombers, including JF-17 Thunder Block 3 and 2, and of course Mirages as well, they have attacked their intended military targets, bases and all others. So how do you see that, this whole mechanism of denying the information, just blinded them and then attacking?
Okay, Pakistan's armed forces, and particularly Pakistan Air Force, you know, the way they employed their capabilities, that was highly scientific, and that is state of art. And Pakistani armed forces jammed the Indian satellites, and there comes the role of space-based technologies. I mean to say, as Air Commodore Raza mentioned, that this is the new era of warfare. We are having new and disruptive technologies such as artificial intelligence, quantum computing, machine learning, you know, lethal autonomous weapons, hypersonic missiles, space-based technologies, cyber-based technologies. So these all, when connect together, keeping in view the AI-led technologies, so what is there? This is the new era of warfare. Future is not awaiting, future is here. These are new patterns of warfare, and whosoever will acquire capabilities in all these technologies which I mentioned, they will remain, you know, they are in the war, and they will be successful. So I think acquisition of modern technologies is mandatory. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to do R&D, because this is the need of the time. If you look into the United States of America, why they are successful? United States of America is successful because the private sector is there along with the public sector. So we, as you know, we have one of the examples, that is GIDS.
We have run short of time, so
one very important
yes,
point.
definitely, please.
GIDS is one of the very important examples. What we are doing, the public and private sector are together to, you know, to invest requisite energies in this research and development, and come up with new technologies which can mitigate the threat of current times. So this is the need of the time. We need to move on towards AI-led technologies, and these AI-led technologies are the future.
Let's take to the same point to Bhutta Sahab. Bhutta Sahab, this whole cyberspace operation, what we are PF warriors done. How do you see we are actually shifting from the traditional warfare towards the hybrid and the cyber warfare? How it affects the overall multi-domain environment, and especially in terms of the cyber deterrence and escalation? How we have to get ready for that, because that is the need of hour. We have done it. Now we have to prepare for it, that God forbid we can also face in future, because this is the future warfare. So we have to be ready for that.
Yes, thank you. This is very important to know how we can prepare ourselves. If we look into in case of the India, the Pakistan launched the attack. There were 4 major types of the attack. One was the DDoS attack, then there was the remote access Trojan attack, then the phishing attack, and then the acknowledgement attack. As the result of which their complete system was jammed. Now, how we have to prepare Pakistan for the future, this is very important, as pointed out by Dr. Saab, that research and indigenous research and development, unless you have your own software and hardware, you will not be able to succeed, because you not know which type of software, which type of hardware, which type of firmware, what are the bugs, what they have, they are coming into your quantity.
Very
so
right.
it is very important to
Very
to do the reverse engineering of them, to analyze them, what type of difficulties, what type of problem they have, and they look after them, and then they decide which software, which type of thing you have to import within the quantity, and how you have to address. I think this is the one of the major challenge, and I will also like to share that our government and some of the department, they are working on it, and they are preparing such type of security operations centers within the Pakistan, having both the software and hardware.
Definitely, we have to do it. We have to do it, because this is the need of our. Commodore Sahab, just to sum up and to be very brief on that, what lessons we learned out of this whole episode from 6th of May to 10th of May, and in strategic terms, in military terms, in cyberspace, and in overall military strategy. How do you see that what we have to focus now as a nation, as a military, and as overall in these domains?
Very good question. Post-war analysis.
Yes.
I will divide it into 4 parts. The first one, strategic. Strategic is that Kashmir is an issue. We have to resolve it as per the UN resolution. This was a lesson of Pulwama also. If it would have been settled at Pulwama stage 2019, the 25 should not have been happened. So it has to be settled, otherwise India will make another false flag operation after 2-3 years, and again it will be attacking Pakistan. So this is the time, it is an internationalized issue now, it has to be resolved. Coming to the operational analysis, operational or tactical one is that this is a 5th generation warfare domain. Multi-domain operations are required, and we have to prepare ourselves for the 5th generation warfare, which has main 3 components, technologies, cyber warfare, and the psychological operations, that is information, disinformation, psyops, misinformation, narrative building. Third is economy. War is very expensive for both the countries, for us also, for India also. India has to realize, and now Congress is actually pressing the BJP, even the public, that without evidence, why you have attacked the Pakistan.
Definitely.
And
actually, we have run short of time, so unfortunately, I want to take this conversation on, but unfortunately, Air Commodore Sahab, Raza, Haider Sahab, thank you very much for your presence. Dr. Saeed, thank you very much. Bhutta Sahab, thank you very much for your presence here in the studios. Viewers, as you have just listened, no doubt about that now we require to prepare ourselves for multi-domain operations. Leadership and the training is the pivot of Pakistani forces, no doubt about that. Electronic warfare, electromagnetic spectro, cyber space, the drone, and all others. Pakistan excelled in all these areas and defeated its adversary. Network-centric warfare is now playing a very important and pivotal role. We have to invest in our air defenses, in space, cyber, and in all areas. In drone technology, we have to prepare for that, because We have to prepare our defenses for the supersonics and the hypersonics as well. We are already entered into a new era of warfare, and we have to adopt all these techniques and technologies, and particularly research and development, not only in the public sector but also in the private sector. We have to invest in that. And indigenous systems and technologies are the paramount if we want to create a real shield of offensive defense. That is very important. And last but not the least, the Kashmir issue, the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. This Kashmir issue must have to be resolved unless and until there would be another false flag operation like Pahalgam, Pulwama, Uri or Pathankot or any sort of, because India is a habitual liar and India always try to have false flag operations. So we have to be aware of that, but we have to stress the international community that Kashmir issue must have to be resolved with a robust diplomacy. That is the need of our. This is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz on us.